Hi everyone, it's Terry here showing another process video for Bramble Fox. This layout I'm using the brand new die set die number 7, which is these fab star shapes. So I've pulled out a couple of patterned papers from the Amy Tangerine Brave and Bold collection that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use this busy patterned paper as a bit of a frame and then put a piece of white cardstock on top. I'm using some marshmallow cardstock this time so I can add some mixed media to the background. So I'm just distressing the edges, and I'm also going to rip 2 sections out from the top and bottom to create kind of a little area to add different patterned paper and some embellishment later on. So you can roughly see my thought process there about how I want it to look on the page. So I'm going to add a small section of this bright lime green coloured patterned paper behind each of those torn out areas. So I've also pulled out that weekend piece before I cut out all these beautiful stars with the die cut set from the patterned papers that coordinate. I'm just working out roughly how I might want to use them. So I do decide I want to layer some behind that black and white photo. I'm going to use this stencil, which is from Bramble Fox, to add some texture paste to the background. And then once that's dry, I'm going to add some mixed media over the top. I'm just adding it roughly in a few areas. I don't want it to be super uniform or anything like that. Just adding it kind of in a slight diagonal so it matches up those torn edges. So while that's drying, I'm just going to create a bit of a photo mat. So first off, I'm adding some of these tiny like pom-pom trim in a teal blue, and then just that scrap of patterned paper I'm going to add behind, so that's got all the colours on that I'm going to use in this layout. I'm just working out how I'm going to layer things up there. But now that that modelling paste is dry, I'm just adding some distress stain sprays, can't get my words out, to my background. So I'm just spritzing them and then using a paintbrush to move them around a little bit to cover the area. So I've added a couple of areas, and now I'm just adding some kind of splats with a paintbrush of each colour. I did pull out the lime colour as well, but I was a little bit worried about creating mud and creating a brown, so I decided against using that. Whereas I knew the pink and the orange would blend well together when they were sat next to each other. So now that all that's dry, it's time to create my layout. So I've got that mat that I did before, and because I've not used the lime green on the background, that die cut really pops off that background, so I'm just adding it tucked under that bit of photo mat there where the patterned paper is. I'm going to add a bit of this tulle that's been sat on my desk since a class I did a while ago. And I like the fact that the black and white photo really pops off the page when you've got all these bright colours going on, whereas a coloured photo might get lost in what's going on. I've pulled out one of the Bramble Fox stamp sets. This is actually the Christmas stamp set, but I love the documented word, and then also there is a little star stamp on there that I want to use on this layout. So I do have a bit of a thing where I can't use hearts and stars together, it has to be one or the other. So this one is definitely all the stars. So just added that documented word there in black ink and a few stamps with the star stamps, and I do go in and add a few more later on. I'm just going to add my title now before I start adding any more embellishment. So I'm going to use that weekend perspective and then add it to the word run, create weekend run as my title. And what I'm documenting here is the first time I did a 10k run, and it did happen to be on a Saturday morning. So now I'm looking at where I can add some more of these die cuts from the patterned paper. So I've got this pink one that I'm going to use to overlap that left hand side of the photo, and this time I'm adding it with some foam pads so it's got a bit of lift away from the photo and gives a bit of dimension to the page. So I'm just looking at where I can add some more. So I do trim that piece down so that I can tuck it underneath that die cut, and you just see a little bit of lime colour popping out and those stars there. So I want to pull in some more stars, and I'm looking at what I can put in those torn areas. So I've just trimmed a few stars off of the longer die cut piece, and I'm tucking that in that section, and then I'll do the same at the top. So you've kind of got like a ring and then a few stars for each area. So I've pulled out the coordinating sticker sheet for this layout, but before I do add any more, I just want to add some journaling, because I am terrible for adding all my embellishment and then not having enough room for some journaling. And because it was important to me to get that journaling down, I did that first. So I've added a couple of stickers. So the first one says high five, and then I'm adding a little green lime coloured arrow, which I thought kind of was good for signifying movement. There's a little sticker there that says you got this, and then that's a little tab I think that says celebrate. So they're all kind of working along the lines of embracing what I achieved that day. So I'm just going to add a few more of those black stamped stars around before adding a few more perspectives. So I'm just doing this in a bit of a random pattern, some overlapping the mixed media and some on the white cardstock background. So I've pulled out a few Bramble Fox star perspectives in the teal and also in this like bright pink colour. So I'm just going to add them in and around my layout in a bit of a diagonal pattern from top left to bottom right, so that it pulls in those torn areas. And the teal blue really pull in then the other blue colours that are in the layout and coordinate with like the letters and that pom-pom trim that I added for early on. Thanks for joining me on YouTube today for this layout process video. I'll pop all links in the description below. You can find lots more inspiration from the rest of the Bramble Fox design team. Just click on all the social media links. Bye for now.